YouTube, back in the building, Lamont Tyson, Mr. Life Gains, here to bring you a segment with me and Larry called Educated Politics. It's that time of the year. It's voting season. It's November. We're here at the midterm elections, and it's time for you guys to be thinking about who's going to best represent you, your walk of life, your freedom, and everything that you deem important in America. Speaking of important, what's very important to this show, ladies and gentlemen, is the living legend. Big Larry's in the building. Wakanda forever. Larry, what's going on, my brother?
Man, how you feeling, man?
I'm hanging tough, man. How about yourself?
All right. I like that hoodie.
Oh, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. What size is that?
Extra large. Extra large. Why you
I keep an eye on it.
You see the cuts for the sluts or something? What's up? What's up?
I might need to come jacket.
Oh man, if you want it, you can have it. It's got Chinese design on the back too that matches what it's saying on the front.
All right. I like it.
Yeah. So, Larry, back in the day during COVID, me, you, and T Streams would do a political segment. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It would turn out some crazies, but it would also turn out a lot of people that want to hear a conversation about the issues that affect us.
Right.
So, back by popular demand, and I'm going to try to keep this going at least once a week, me and Larry are here to give you guys a segment we call Educated Politics as they pertain to minorities in particular and the walk of life with minorities. So, Big Larry, I got a list. I'm going to give you the titles I put on this list, and then you just pick whichever one you want to do first.
All right.
All right. But first, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to download the Life Gains podcast. Everything I put on YouTube, I back it up on the podcast because you never know with YouTube. Sometimes they be tripping, and I don't want you guys not to have an outlet to find me. And then you can also find me and Larry both on our social media. Larry has a Twitter. I have a Twitter. I have a IG. Larry has an IG. And I also have a TikTok where I put snippets of our videos on the TikTok.
I have a TikTok.
Larry. Yeah, I'm on TikTok. And Larry's up there too, so you got to check us out.
Yeah.
Check us out.
I just got my
Larry,
TikTok cracking.
You know what I mean when I whip out the paper. So let me read you the list, and I'll let you decide which one we're going to do first. Here we go.
All right.
Okay. The hammer versus the politician. That's number one.
Oof.
Number two, Obama is on it. That's number two. Number three, we don't need a walker. We need a runner.
I have no idea what that one's about, but I like it.
Okay. And last on the list, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas wakes up in the morning, and when he looks in the mirror, he sees no color. That's your list, Larry. What you got?
Ooh, let's go with the Clarence Thomas one. That sounds provocative.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Larry wants to go with Clarence Thomas looking in the mirror, not seeing what the hell color his ass is. And as we transition to that, shout out to Tressa C. Yes, we miss T Streams too, but my man, he's doing a lot right now.
Yeah.
Sierra Forever. Monique, you still won't tell me and Larry what the 69 ways means, but we'll soon. Ronald Cameron, D. Weave, Tina, Maxima 347, Profess the Film Fan. Great to have you guys here. Be sure to share folks with us, man, because we do be bringing a lot of content on this channel as a team, as individuals, and we make sure that we try to keep things to the point with a grand picture, but always with minorities in mind. Ladies and gentlemen, there's something going on in the Supreme Court of these United States, and I am not talking about the simple coup that has been the Republican Party corrupting the court. It's great. It's bigger than that. Right now, I'm talking about Clarence Thomas, a man who had no business replacing the legendary Thurgood Marshall, but he got in there. There is a case going on where it's Harvard Harvard and North Carolina versus somebody. And I got the insert for you. They're fighting for diversity and in colleges, so the campuses can remain diversified, affirmative action in college. Clarence Thomas had the nerve to come out of his mouth and say, what is diversity? And before some of you wackadoos out there say, what the hell is Lamont talking about? He don't know what he's talking about. I got the footage, okay? Damn it, I got the footage, and y'all about to see it. And when we get back, we is going to tear this MF to shreds. Here we go, Larry.
Mr. Park, I've heard the word diversity quite a few times, and I don't have a clue what it means. It seems to mean everything for everyone. And I'd like you first, you did give some examples in your opening remarks, but I'd like you to give us a specific definition of diversity in the context of the University of North Carolina. And I'd also like you to give us a clear idea of exactly what the educational benefits of diversity at the University of North Carolina would be.
Yes, Your Honor. So first, we define diversity the way this court has in its court precedents, which means a broadly diverse set of criteria that extends to all different backgrounds and perspectives and not solely limited to race. And there's a factual finding in this record, PEDAP 113, that there are many different diversity factors that are considered as a greater factor in our admissions process than race. We have a particular interest in recruiting and enrolling rural North Carolinians. In the last incoming class, 4 out of every 10 students who entered the campus doors were from rural North Carolina. 1 out of every 12 students has a military affiliation, including the most veterans on campus since World War II. And so we value diversity of all different kinds and all the ways that people differ in our society. On the educational benefits question, Your Honor, I don't think it's actually disputed here that there are real and meaningful educational benefits that come with diversity of all kinds. SFFA's own expert, this is on JA 546, conceded and agreed enthusiastically, in fact, on the stand, that a racially diverse and a diversity of all kinds leads to, quote, a deeper and richer learning environment, leads to more creative thinking and exchange of ideas, and critically reduced bias between people of different backgrounds and not solely different racial backgrounds.
Larry, it's only going to take me 10 seconds to say what I got to say. let me get good and in this camera. Larry, this is what someone needs to say to Clarence Thomas. Nigga, do you realize what color you is? Do you realize your house is diverse? Do you realize you is black, your wife is white? That's diversity. You mean to tell me you sitting your black ass on that Supreme Court and don't have an idea what diversity is, which tells us and everybody else in this planet of Earth that your ass does not need to be a Supreme Court justice if you don't know what the hell diversity means in America. You live in it. The floor is yours, Larry. I just can't with this dude, man. I can't. Thurgood Marshall, God rest you, my brother. We sorry that they done this to you. We sorry your seat got replaced by this idiot. Floor is yours, Larry.
You know, some years ago, I read Clarence Thomas's book, and it was really sad in a lot of ways because he's just such a, from his book you get, and from even what he said, he's such a really just angry, bitter human being. And it's sad that he's so angry and bitter considering how much he has, you know, how much opportunity he's been given and how much opportunity he has seized upon. It's not like, I mean, his whole career is based off of affirmative action. He would not be anywhere where he is today without affirmative action. I mean, people may not know his history, but he went to an elite Catholic school. He was plucked out of relative obscurity from I believe it was like a Jesuit priest or something. They basically took him. It was like them and some other people. They had like some wealthy benefactors, other young black kids. They plucked him out. They put him in an elite Catholic school that was an Ivy League feeder school. And then after he got out of there, he went to Harvard, I think it was, or Yale, one of them after. And then he went to Yale Law School. All of these programs he got into these programs were because of affirmative action. He got into high school, undergrad, and graduates in law school, all because of affirmative action. And one could even make the argument that his seat on the Supreme Court was an affirmative action pick, because they could have just picked the next best candidate, but they didn't. What they did was, when Bush selected him, Bush said, we cannot have a Black Supreme Court justice die and we don't replace him with another one. And we have to replace him. We have to go one for one. Not only did they do an affirmative action pick, it was a straight up quota. They just basically said, we lost one, we need one. And so they did that. His whole existence and his academic and professional career is affirmative action. And for him to want to even think about getting rid of it, think about taking away the opportunities that he's been given to others, so that others can't seize upon those same opportunities, is just shameful. And but I expect nothing less from him. He's one of those Black men out there that, and not just men, he's one of those Black people out there that hate themselves. They don't like the fact that they're Black. They hate it. They look around and they think, if I only wasn't Black, I would be so much more. And they can't see what they have. And they don't like themselves. And he's tried to divorce himself of his Blackness just in every way, shape he can, except the fact that he can't, because he is and will always be Black. And
couldn't he go and get his skin bleached like Sammy Soka and Michael Jackson to blend in a little better? Or is it too late for all that? Because look, I'm trying to help the dude out, Larry. We don't want you. We don't want to claim you. He's a prime example, Larry, of African Americans who live in our culture. They live in the lives of Black people in America. And then you get to a position where you're doing better, or you're in a higher status. And then all of a sudden, the stereotypes you learned about Black people, the things you see on the news about Black people, you detest it because you feel like you're above it. You detest it because you're in a better place. And now you want to look down on those people like they're heathens, like they're animals, when your ass is still one of them. What's up with him, Larry? What's up with that?
I mean, he is I'll be honest with you, it's a shame, and I'm very disappointed, more so than anything. I could be angry with him and all this stuff, but I'm really disappointed in him because he's not an idiot. Like, a lot of people just write him off as if he's just some idiot. He's not an idiot. He's an incredibly intelligent man, and he is an accomplished legal scholar. It's just unfortunate that he can't get out of his own way to just see the value that he is as a person and as a Black person, to be able to embrace that. He can't get out of his own head to think like, oh, everything that I do, this is attached to it and devalued because of it, and this and that. And that's simply not the case. There are some people that are going to devalue what you think and what you do because of your ethnicity or your gender or your religion or all kinds of other factors. Those people should not matter to you. The fact of the matter is that he is a Supreme Court justice. He's there for life. He doesn't have to kowtow or bend to other people's whims. You could do it and say and rule how you want to. And I feel like he's playing the white man's lapdog, because that's what he feels that's as good as he can get. You feel. I mean, that's a fact. Look at how he's ruled, Larry. But he doesn't have. But see, that's the thing. It doesn't have to be a fact. He acts that way because he feels he has to, but he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to be that lapdog. He is on that court from the day he got sworn in until the day he decides to leave or dies. He has the ability to rule any way he wants to. He can write his opinions any way that he wants to, and no one could do anything about it. Nothing.
Larry.
Not a single solitary thing.
There's one problem, Larry. There's one problem. They like to have us believe that people in certain positions, whether it's a doctor, whether it's a judge, whether it's a lawyer, that when you go home, you are able to separate your work from your spouse. Larry, he's married to a white woman who is not a white woman that's cultured. She's a white woman that's down for the keep us all white crowd, which is what he espouses in his rulings. So that's why he's not being allowed to let everything you just said rise to the top. He's not getting pushed to be that type of person. He's getting pushed that the things that these Republicans and these white nationalists and everybody on this side is saying is right. And the best thing for you to do is keep making it that way, honey. Not to mention, Larry, you know his wife's butt is caught up in some of that January the 6th mess.
She's caught up in a lot of it.
Which means he technically, anytime a case comes up dealing with any of that, he should recuse himself, but he ain't.
No, he's not going to, but he should. He should. And Chief Justice, Chief Justice Roberts should really sit down with him and tell him, you need to recuse yourself. You need to do the right thing, and for the court, not just for you personally, but for the court, to maintain the integrity and avoid any appearance of impropriety. For the sanctity of the court, you should recuse yourself on anything that has to do with January 6th.
Larry, did you just see where Ketanji Brown, Judge Ketanji Brown, our first African-American woman who wears braids on the Supreme Court, that's how far we've really come. She recused herself from a case with her alma mater. Like, nobody asked her. She didn't have to do it. She just said, I've done too much work with my school. Even though the case wouldn't deal with me personally, I don't even want there to be an appearance of impropriety. And she stepped away.
Yeah, I don't think she should have, to be honest with you, because I mean, when you look at the court, all those justices, they're all Ivy Leaguers. They're all Harvard or Yale or Princeton. They're all Ivy Leaguers, either undergrad or law school or both. I mean, you can't. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I think there's times to recuse yourself from cases. I think she could have been just fine. And honestly, I think if she had been on the bench for longer than what she had, she would not have recused herself. But I think because she's brand new onto the Supreme Court and she's trying to, I think she has the newness and the excitement of it, and she's probably feeling the weight of it, and she wants to try and avoid any appearance of impropriety. She's saying, let me recuse myself. And really, I don't think she should have. I think she would have been just fine. But I think that will change. I think as she's been on the court for a few more years and things, she gets used to the position. I don't think we'll see that happen,
Okay. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, post your comments on Old Uncle Clarence Thomas. Let us know what you think. This will be on the podcast. It will be on TikTok as the individual video for you to share with individuals that don't want to watch this whole entire thing. All right, Larry. Getting to the fun stuff. Well, okay, I can't say we quite to the fun stuff, but I've got the hammer versus politicians. I've got Obama own it. I've got, we don't need a walker, we need a runner.
Oh, man, I'll tell you, I feel like after the whole Clarence Thomas thing, we need like an Obama chaser, something to cleanse the palate.
Okay. Obama on it. So, ladies and gentlemen, the crux of this story is Obama has got back on the campaign trail. Mm-hmm. And when I tell you he is as good as he's ever been, ladies and gentlemen, that is one of the best orators to grace America. Obama is. Not only is he out there stomping, but he's doing jokes, real jokes, not jokes that someone writes for him, not jokes that are made up. He's doing jokes about the people that are running against candidates that are a damn joke. He's calling it. He's calling the shots like they need to be called. He's calling out these Republicans. And he's been giving some of the best speeches. It makes you say, damn, we had him as president and look at what we've come to. But ladies and gentlemen, here's a clip of him getting heckled, and watch the way someone of dignity, grace, and spirit handles a heckler who's on the opposition. Take a look at our former president, Barack Obama.
And if elected officials don't do more to explicitly reject that kind of rhetoric, if they tacitly support it or encourage their supporters to stand outside voting places armed with guns and dressed in tactical gear, more people can get hurt. And we're going to be violating the basic spirit of this country. Yes. So, sir, wait, come on. But this is what I mean. This is what I mean. I mean, we're having a conversation. Come on. Sir. I'm not. Sir. Come on. Sir, this is what I'm saying. Look, there is a process that we set up in our democracy. Right now, I'm talking. You'll have a chance to talk sometime soon. You don't have to interrupt each other. You don't have to shout each other down. It's not a good way to do business. It's that you wouldn't do that at a workplace. If you wouldn't just interrupt people in the middle of a conversation. It's not how we do things. And this is part of the point that I want to make. Just basic civility and courtesy works. And that's what we want to try to encourage. So, listen, that's okay. No. Wait. Quiet down. Look, listen. Hey, hold up. Hold on a minute. Listen, everybody. Hey, y'all up there, pay attention. Here's what happens. Listen. No. I mean, this is part of, not only is this an example of what I'm talking about, but it's also an example of how we get distracted. Suddenly, y'all ever see that movie, Up, that Disney movie? Right, remember that dog, and the dog's talking, and that squirrel, and they turn, and that's us with politics. We get distracted instead of focusing on what's important.
Larry, he just basically told you 2/3 of the Republican handbook. And me and you have been in debates with Republicans before. And we know when we got their ass by the balls, they want to go talking about, well, what about Benghazi? Or what about Hunter Biden's laptop? Dude,
Hillary's email.
How do we go from talking about inflation and how it was created in part by the man who left office and has tried to be substantiated by people who would vote against bills to fix it, and then when I corner you on it, all of a sudden now you're a little frustrated ass want to go talking about, well, what about Hillary's email? What the hell do her emails got to do with inflation and the price of gas? Bruh, nothing. Yeah. What the hell does Hillary emails have to do with January the 6th? Nothing.
Right.
Obama just showed you how they tried to position themselves to get you to forget what the focus and the goal is, which is to stay on mission, making a breakthrough for the people, making sure that we're getting justice as equally and as fairly as we can get it, and making sure people's right to life is as equal and fair as possible. Speak on your boy Obama, Larry. God, I wish we could get Michelle to come on and run next year.
Yeah, I mean, it It's always fun to see him when he comes back out and he hits the campaign trail because he's so much more relaxed now. Now that he doesn't have to worry about running for office and he doesn't have to worry about all the being perfect. He doesn't have to worry about saying all the right things in the right way all the time. He can be a bit more relaxed, and he shows. He's just, when he speaks, it just feels good because he's just that much more relaxed. You know, the thing is, you know, when people start talking about Hillary Clinton's emails, and this is one thing that gets me, is that we should all remember that one of the things with her emails was when they talked about her having a private server was the fact that they were saying they were talking about she may be in violation of the Presidential Records Act, which requires that all these documents and all these communications and everything go to the National Archives so they can all be archived. And they were worried that that would not be the case if there were emails on private servers, the government wouldn't have access to them. Well, people should recognize that Donald Trump and his cohort have been using private servers. They've been using public emails. They've been using private cell phones that are not government issued, which is all this stuff is not allowed. This is all stuff that is not allowed. You're supposed to have all this stuff government issued and government controlled so that they can archive all of it. And they have not been doing that. And I mean, this is how crazy it is. I mean, you're talking about, we're up there now talking about Mar-a-Lago, where this dude took nuclear secrets and had them out in the open in his resort. And people are upset about Hillary, who might have violated a Presidential Records Act with her private server, which actually wasn't even illegal. It wasn't even considered unethical at the time. Every president before that had done that. You know, even all the secretaries of states have done that. Before Hillary did it, what's his name did it? When they talked about, well, Hillary had a private server when she was at the State Department. Well, so did Colin Powell. No one said anything about it. You know, it's just, that's the way it was. The whole thing with technology was evolving. So people, and this is one thing people should understand about the government. Whatever we're doing right now in the mainstream, the government's probably a few years behind. You know, they're not the fastest to keep up. And also because when they do integrate stuff, they have to integrate it for a large number of people. So they can't just say, I'm going to go to Best Buy and grab a computer and throw this thing on my software on my computer. They have to go and make sure that it works for an entire system. So it takes longer for them. And so if Hillary had a private server because she was like, look, I need I need email. I need it. You guys don't have it ready for me. I have my own private stuff. I'm going to use it. And then once it's up and running, they say, well, we have your server set up now. Well, she's like, I don't want your server. I don't need your server. I already have mine. It's working. I'm not transitioning. So it's that's that. But, you know, Trump and them have had private servers. They've had public emails. They've had public, cell phones and the Secret Service and our intelligence agencies have complained about it throughout his entire administration, saying how it was a huge security risk. And it was making their jobs much more difficult and making him vulnerable because all of these communiques were easily what do you call it? They're easily picked up by foreign agencies, and they were, the Chinese were constantly talking about how the Chinese were intercepting his communiques because he was using cell phones that were not government issued, they weren't encrypted, and they were just public.
Pretty much. Unlike taking documents from a secure location, there's already a conspiracy running around that you are in debt to foreign adversaries who at some point in time going to want their money back. Their money could equal secrets about America. And then it's just all really, really funny to me how Russia decided to invade Ukraine after the election, which for all we know, that had been being cooked up before, thinking that Trump was going to be in there to make it easy so that there wouldn't be all this pressure and help coming from America. And that plan got messed up. And so I don't even want to hear anyone run up on me and say Hillary's emails, Hunter Biden's laptop, until you deal with your ex-president taking government nuclear secrets along with other secrets, because people see, Larry, people think that the most damning thing that could hurt us is the nuclear secrets. I mean, yeah, that can hurt us. But there are cyber secrets that could be more strenuous on us, dealing with grids, dealing with light systems, dealing with power systems, dealing with dams, dealing with water systems that could really hem up America and bring this ship to a crashing halt. That, for all we know, he's got some of that stuff too, and is passing it out to whoever's the highest bidder. So until y'all deal with that, don't even holler at me and Larry about somebody's fucking emails when that has already been settled. You know, like that's already been settled. So, wow. Okay, Larry.
And here's another part of the problem too. When you start talking about security stuff, people, sometimes I don't think people fully appreciate how dangerous it is what Trump was doing, and the people that he's in bed with and selling information to or giving it away or whatever. Because when you like today on CNN, they were talking about the Russian dude that's the head of the Wagner Group, which is a private military in Russia, and he owns it and runs it, and he's been basically contracting it out to Putin, and he wants more power. But they were talking about how there was a meeting with this guy who's the head of the Wagner Group with Putin over this, I think it was over the weekend, and he's been complaining about how the Russian generals have been running this war really poorly, and he wants more power, more control, and they were talking about the use of tactical nuclear weapons. Well, they said that they had this meeting. They said that it was so important that they had included it in Biden's, daily intelligence briefing. Well, the problem is when you have people like Trump out there that have access to all this information, whether it be information from the CIA or all this other top classified stuff. He has access to who certain assets are. Well, you have people that are in that room that are talking to us. There are people in that room that are saying, "Look, I'm a Russian patriot, but I understand that what's happening is dangerous not just for my country but for the world." And so I'm going to have some back channel conversations with people, just like there's people in this country that say, "Hey, I'm a loyal American patriot, but I recognize there's certain things that may be dangerous, and we're going to have back channel conversations to keep stuff from blowing up and around the world." And if you let those names out there, you lose that access. And Trump was up there with that type of information splayed out on the floor for anybody to get a hold of. And that's just reckless and dangerous. You end up limiting the amount of intelligence that our government can access if all of a sudden our intelligence assets around the world are exposed. What he did was so flagrant and dangerous and treasonous. I just can't. To me, the idea of this man not being prosecuted is just absolutely asinine. The fact that the Republican Party would not go after him, it would not just simply say, "This is a step too far. This is just too far. We can find another person that has his same policies and we can run with that person. We don't need him. We need to get rid of him." But the fact that they won't do that, the fact they're willing to put, it used to be they're putting the party before the country. Now they're putting the man before the country.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, moving on this list, we got the hammer versus the politician. And we also have, we don't need a walker. We need
a man. I'm going to let you pick this one.
Oh, well, I'm going to say the best for last then.
I'm going
to run with the hammer versus the politician. But let me first address something that the chat
I thought you were going to say that was the best one for last.
No. Well, what I was going to do, Larry, was save the last 10 minutes to respond to the comments.
Okay. All right.
And I might do that. So Avery Adams and B. Avery, I'm gonna get back to you guys' comments about not trusting the left or the right, and I'll tell you the one thing that unifies them both. It's a common thing, and we can certainly go into conspiracy theory on how they do it, but it's a commonality that they both want from everybody. They might not just tell it to you like that, but they do. So the next thing we're going to do is the hammer versus politics. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Nancy Pelosi's husband. Her house was broken into this week. Cat was a right-wing extremist looking for Nancy, wanting to kill Nancy. Nancy's not home, but Paul is home. So they get into a fisticuffs, and eventually they get into a hammer. Okay. Cop gets on the scene. Hammer is taken from Paul Pelosi and is used as a blunt force trauma instrument up against his damn head. And guess what, Larry? Guess what?
What?
The white piece of shit lived to talk about it.
Yeah. They didn't light him up.
All I can say is, Larry, had that been Long Dong Lamont Tyson, living legend Larry, if we would have hit a politician's spouse in the head in front of a cop and knocked us to the ground, we would have been Swissed up like Swiss cheese. But
yeah,
we can debate that after we see what is going on with the story right now. So here you go, Paul Pelosi and the latest findings in this case, this white nationalist. And might I add you, Larry, before we go there, this same thing happened right when Trump got elected. And it's been happening in between them, but this one hits close to home for me. I live in North Carolina. This kid that lived close to Winston-Salem was listening to all these right-wing conspiracy radio shows, podcasts, YouTubes. And they said that Hillary Clinton had a factory below a pizza shop near DC where she was running underage girls. This buffoon gets in his car from North Carolina, drives up there, shoots somebody in the parlor, only to learn that that was an unfounded conspiracy. Look how that has evolved to this. Here's Paul Pelosi and where he's at right now.
Tonight, a judge ordering the man accused of viciously attacking House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband with a hammer held without bail. 42-year-old David DePape making his first court appearance in an orange jumpsuit, his arm in a sling due to a dislocated shoulder. DePape arraigned on multiple felony charges, including attempted murder and assault with a deadly weapon. A public defender entering a plea of not guilty on DePape's behalf. The district attorney speaking out.
I consider him to be dangerous. Not only is this someone who engaged in a pre-planned attack on the speaker in her home, but someone who was willing to enact violence that was politically motivated.
DePape's attorney promising a vigorous defense.
We're going to be doing a comprehensive investigation of what happened. We're going to be looking into Mr. DePape, his mental state.
Authorities now investigating social media posts the suspect allegedly made, including unfounded conspiracy theories about COVID and the false claim that President Biden lost the 2020 election. And tonight, a source telling ABC News the Pelosi family will hear Paul's 911 call and see the police body camera video that showed the attack when officers were at the front door of the Pelosi home as soon as tomorrow. According to the federal affidavit, DePape allegedly telling police that he had planned to hold Nancy hostage, saying if she lied, he was going to break her kneecaps. Speaker Pelosi seen here leaving her home today, releasing a statement overnight, thanking well-wishers and her husband's medical team, saying Paul is making steady progress on what will be a long recovery process. Political leaders on both sides of the aisle have urged politicians to tone down the rhetoric, given the rising danger that politicians need to set the example. Instead, in Arizona's hotly contested race for governor, Republican candidate Kari Lake, when asked about protecting students from school shootings at a campaign event, joking about the incident.
It is not impossible to protect our kids at school. They act like it is. Nancy Pelosi, well, she's got protection when she's in D.C. Apparently her house doesn't have a lot of protection.
Tonight, Kari Lake's opponent, Katie Hobbs, the current Secretary of State, condemning those remarks, telling ABC News it's completely unsurprising that Kari Lake, who has spent her entire campaign trafficking in election falsehoods, sowing chaos, and inciting violence against our elected leaders and voters, is treating political violence as a joke.
Mola Lenghi back with us tonight from San Francisco. And Mola, I know you're learning new details on this investigation involving the suspect tonight, something we did not know.
Well, that's right, David. A court filing was just filed stating that DePape was on a suicide mission, planning to attack not only Nancy Pelosi, but other California and federal officials. Now, he is due back in court on Friday for a bail hearing, currently being held without bail, and he is not allowed to have any contact with the Pelosis.
Ladies and gentlemen, since this incident happened, this shit's been getting ridiculous. So Donald Trump's son, I forgot whichever one, Uday Kuse, whichever the hell one it was, tweeted some kind of conspiracy like he's gay. That was his gay lover escaping the house. Not true. Elon Musk, dumbass, and Larry, I can't lie. I like the cars that Tesla's put out, but I'm losing it with him more and more. He retweeted this. This is Hillary Clinton tweeted about all the things, blah, blah, blah. And Elon Musk took the awful conspiracy theory of Pelosi's husband being gay and retweeted it, only later to take it down. All right. Trump was at a rally. You heard the stupid crap Carrie Lake said. Trump was at a rally and was texting people on his social truth, whatever the hell this stupid thing is called. This picture right here. What a great Larry. Lord, look, for the longest time, Larry, when blacks was coming up back in the day, the 80s, the 70s, you've been around that long, you know what they were saying. When we used to complain to them that words matter, we don't want them calling us niggers. For the longest time, they used to tell us, well, why are you giving words power? Why are you letting words have power over you? And now they're talking about we need to tone down this rhetoric. Larry, we're walking day to day, Larry, to some of the easiest, malleable individuals we've ever seen in our life. We've got the internet, which is supposed to help make us smarter, when in essence it's making people dumber, because the same people who would have sought education before the internet, who had logic skills, critical thinking skills, would have got the education whether we had the internet or not, are still doing that. But the ones who would not have done that get up here, think they get a damn education on something, and they're getting conspiracy theories and believing it to the point of death and harm. Nancy Pelosi's husband had to have surgery on his brain. This man is like 80-something. 80-something. Had to have surgery on his brain, and the right wing and that branch of their party is making fun of it like it's nothing. Again, had this had been somebody with Black Lives Matters, had this had been a black person that would have beat the hell out of, let's just say, Justice Kavanaugh or whatever, something like that, they would be trying to throw us. We wouldn't have survived, Larry. We wouldn't have survived. And everybody who would have came up with some alternative theory to deflect from the real problem, you'd be thrown under the bus. So, Larry, having said that, I give the floor to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing that this thing happened. It's one level of shame that this thing actually happens. And another thing that politicians on both sides, obviously the Democrats have condemned it, but it's a shame that the Republicans just have not immediately come out and universally condemned it. And I don't know if you guys remember a few years ago when the Republicans were practicing for the congressional softball game. And there was a dude that was a left-leaning dude that was a lunatic, and he went out there with a gun and he shot up a couple of people, including Judge Scalise. Steve Scalise. A House, a representative, Republican representative. And that action was immediately and universally condemned. There was none of this sly joking. There was none of this, Scalise is a dirtbag, maybe he deserved it. It was none of this anything. There was no jokes about it. Was maybe maybe it was just his gay lover taking revenge because they broke up. It was none of this asinine ridiculousness. It was just simply a thing of, we are America, we're Americans, and we don't solve our issues with violence against politicians. We take our grievances to the ballot box. And it was universally condemned, this act of political violence. But now when you have this very thing and it's happening to a Democrat, the Republicans just won't do it. They're incapable of doing it. They are not able to do it. Like, I would expect that you would have had Mitch McConnell and Charlie, you know, what's his name, Schultz from the Senate side, and also we should have had Nancy Pelosi and what's his name, McCarthy. You should have had all the House and Senate leaders come out as one. They should have went out on those steps of the Capitol, and they should have spoke as one voice and condemned this and said, we will not support political violence on any level. We will not support candidates. We will not support our own colleagues. We will not support our citizens who support political violence. And they didn't do it. And the thing that they need to understand is they're making jokes about it today because it's a Democrat. It could just as well likely be a Republican tomorrow or the next day. And people keep talking about, you know, the Republicans, they have this idea that they want this civil war, that a civil war is coming. They think they want to call people on the left snowflakes and think that everybody on the left is a bunch of softies. People seem to forget that leftist people around this world have been extraordinarily violent when need be. When they want to do something and the process does not work, violence has worked for people on the left. They are good at it. People on the left are smart. All these people that are out there that are running around with their single-minded, their job, or all they do is this every day, all day, and they don't think about anything else. All they do is watch their Newsmax and the other stuff, and they're brain dead, basically. Well, on the left, you have some of the most intelligent human beings on this planet, some of the most genius and brilliant thinkers that you have. And if you make those people turn their minds and their energy away from how to feed people and how to house people and how to stop climate change onto how to kill you and how to take over this country violently, you're in trouble, because I can tell you right now, people on the left are smarter and they can be just as violent. And I just think that it's a dangerous game to play. It's a dangerous thing to try and force this issue when we should be working together to solve problems and not basically creating new problems for each other.
You know what, Larry? Here's the issue with the Republicans. Couple of issues, but I'm gonna just speak to two issues here. I had to write this down. People only get away with what they're allowed to get away with. All these Republicans saying this bull job are allowed to get away with it. You know why, Larry? Because they are empowered by their voting bloc and wherever they live at, voting people empower them to do this. They let them do this. This behavior is the exact kind of behavior they should tell black people not to do because it's not representative of the nation. Well, fuck. What the hell are y'all doing? You know, if it's not representative of the nation and y'all trying to tell us that we need to look more like you guys in this nation, what the hell gonna happen when we decide to start doing that? We're not doing it. And the other thing that bothers me about this, Larry, is too, there's a double standard of whataboutism that works on with the Republican Party that the Democrats tend to not do well. Okay. So instead of focusing on the issue, it turns into, well, what about this? What about that? Oh, you forgot about this. And you forgot about that. And at the end of the day, maybe they do want to see the South rise again, because I'm in North Carolina. I still see people with Confederate flags and the back of their car say, the South shall rise again.
I'm in Virginia. I see people flying the Confederate flag around at times too. I don't see it as much where I'm at because I'm in Northern Virginia where it's very liberal, but I still see it. And we need to get over that shit. You lost. Your people lost.
Well, they're not going to get over it, Larry. They're not going to get over it. And a whole lot of the things we still have in terms of division is stemming from that. And I don't see how we ever turn a corner when you want people right now, Larry. There's a large contagion of people that want to burn the whole thing down. Just burn it down. Fascism, fine, long as it's a fascism led by us. You know, real socialism, long as the socialism ran by us. They are willing to give up all this stuff they claim that they believe to be American values because now that the real American values that are on paper of diversity, liberty for all, it didn't say some, it said all. Now that people are actually enforcing that in the court systems and through legal precedents and through laws, that don't work for them. And now you want to start trying to do this mess. Larry, they better get a handle on it. Because January the 6th, for all we know, Larry, was nothing but a test ground for how much and how far can we go with this type of foolishness. How much and how far can we go? So stay up, my people. Now, Larry, I'm on to the last thing. Just in the nick of time, we got 9 minutes left. And what am I talking about, Larry? Oh, first of all, let me shout out my super chatter. Here we go. Will Lawrence, what's going on, my brother? I appreciate it. Not a politics person, but great show. Well, Will, I hope you're voting. I know you might not like politics, but no, there is nothing in your life. And when you get your ass out of bed, well, when you're in the bed sleeping, everything around that revolves around politics. And you want to make sure that you're voting for the politics that do the best job they can to make the playing field equal, fair, so that your pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness is not impeded by somebody else. So, Larry,
and if you want to make sure that politics stays out of your life, then make sure you vote, because otherwise the government will be all up in your life.
Here we go. Last one on the list, ladies and gentlemen. We don't need a walker. We need a runner. Oh, boy. Ladies and gentlemen, the right have put out, in conjunction with the Democrats, I might add, some of the worst Republican candidates this side of 1962 in the Mason-Dixon line. The list goes on. Let me show you a few of them, because one of them's in my state, okay? You've got this chick right here who's doing an impressive job of acting like she's melanated, but ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake, Carrie Lake is a white lady, but she does a good job of turning on the charm when she needs to. They're putting out this guy from North Carolina, Ted Budd, and I shouldn't talk crap about him, but he's the only guy who works in D.C. who owns a gun shop. And if you catch him at any of his rallies, he's always got his gun on his hip. But I will say this, they did give me and my family tickets to go see the Capitol and the White House. But, you know, hell, that's what you're supposed to do. Anyway, and this other nutcase, Herschel Walker, Lord have mercy, talking about giving blacks a bad name. So all these crazy wackadoo candidates that under normal circumstances prior to 2010 will be getting their asses kicked because all of them believe in the election was stolen. They believe in all these conspiracies. Some of them are even saying that we would go back and fix it so that if the vote didn't go our way, we would fix it so that it did. And all three of them are against abortion, which brings me to, where does the statement come? We need a walker, not a runner. We need a runner, not a walker.
Right.
Herschel Walker's last name is Walker. He's had 3 abortions that we know about. One chick trying to tell the story. The other chick just done came out and showed us the check. Right. And he is in the boat with everybody else that wants to take the right for women to have an abortion away. They used to always say, as Republicans, we don't want to have government in everybody's business. Well, you damn sure got government in between the vagina lips of women, and that's for sure. But I digress. A pastor who's very famous in Georgia did a sermon where he took apart Herschel Walker Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy, because this was some good mess right here from this pastor, prominent pastor in Georgia. If you guys know him, post me a comment. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, when the Republican Party of Georgia moved Herschel Walker from Texas to Georgia so that he could run for Senate, it's because change was taking too fast in the South. The state had been flipped blue, and there are some principalities that were not prepared for a black man and a Jewish man to go to Senate at the exact same time. So they figured that they would delude us by picking somebody who they thought would in fact represent us better with a football than with a degree in philosophy. They thought we were so slow, that we were so stupid, that we would elect the lowest caricature of a stereotypical broken black man as opposed to somebody who is educated and erudite and focused. Y'all ain't ready for me today. Since Herschel Walker was 16 years old, white men been telling him what to do, telling him what school to go to, where to live, where to eat, where to buy a house, where to run, where to sit down, where to sleep, where to pay for abortions, where to buy a gun. And you think they not gonna tell him how to vote? In 2022, we don't need a walker, we need a runner. We need somebody who gonna run and tell the truth about January 6th. We need somebody who gonna run and push for the cancellation of student loan debts. We need somebody who gonna run and make the former president respond to a subpoena. We don't need a walker, we need somebody who will be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding, knowing that your labor is not in vain. Georgia, I need you to know the slave Negroes y'all are used to don't live here no more. We can think for ourselves, function for ourselves, and vote for ourselves. Why? Because we don't need a walker.
We don't need a walker. We need a damn runner. Before I give the floor to you, Larry, shout out to the big homie, Big Buzz, who's been doing 703 for at least 3 years. I'm grateful. He says, hello, all skin folk ain't kin folk. Yeah, we know that.
Yeah.
So Larry, Herschel Walker is down there, and Larry, the race is too close for me. I mean, we are in the era of people who have no qualifications to do these jobs, getting these jobs.
Yeah.
How do you feel about what the pastor had to say about everything? He just broke down Herschel Walker right down to the bone, Chris. What do you think about the pastor? What he said?
I mean, he's right on every level. I mean, the dude just hit it on the head. I mean,
on the head.
Just this idea that the Republicans still have, which is just funny to me, is that okay, if we want to beat this black man, we need to go find us another black person that they can vote for. They're not going to pay attention to whether or not this person is a complete idiot or just a bad candidate for their personal beliefs and their political ideals. They're just going to vote because they're going to see a black man who played football, and that's that. But, you know, black folks, even back in the day, even when people liked Herschel Walker when he was playing football, black folks always sort of looked at him as sort of a sellout because he always seemed like that sort of slow Southern coon that always did what the white boy told you to do. And I don't think that black folks have affection for Herschel Walker. Like, I don't think black folks ever really had that much affection for him like that, you know? Mm-hmm. And it's, you know, it's one thing when you have, if they would have had some other candidate that might have been controversial or something, but you had Raphael, he's running against Raphael Warnock. I mean, the dude's a pastor, you know, he's a stand-up, you know, he's a stand-up individual. And Herschel Walker is the exact opposite of that. You know, he is everything what you would expect from a Republican, though, somebody who speaks and talks about one thing and lives another way. He talks one way and lives a different way. And you expect that from them, you know, versus on the Democratic side, you often see people speak one way and live that same way. And when they don't live that way, they end up suffering the consequences of being forced out of office, you know? And I mean, let's not forget they did flip that state. They flipped the state blue because they've registered a lot of new voters. And, you know, and as much as, and this is a little like still within Georgia politics, but a little off. I as much as I hope that Stacey Abrams wins, and I want her to take that governor's house, it's like I feel like it's a double-edged sword because Stacey Abrams is so invaluable when it comes to organizing in that state. She has done much. She has done so much to get new people registered to vote, new Black people, new Democratic voters registered to vote and showing up at the polls. And I feel like I want her to continue to be able to do that work, but I also understand that she has ambitions of her own. She wants a political position. And I hope she wins. And I hope when she wins, I hope she can continue to do that good work on a greater level. You know,
right.
We'll see.
We'll definitely see. So, Big Larry, I'm gonna get us on out of here until next week, ladies and gentlemen. You want to come back for a quick and fast political talk where we give you some of the news of the week that has happened up until Wednesday. Come on back next week. And by the way, don't forget, download the podcast. It'll be there. Share the podcast. Let folks know you've got some of us out here who have been in politics, have owned business, have done film work, have done photography work. We're very versed individuals, ladies and gentlemen. We just don't get into our life stories that much. And you can also find me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. And Larry is on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Links are in description. Larry, before we go, what you got going on your channel so that people can take a look at, and then we'll get out of here.
Same old madness, man. Just more tech. Just more tech. I've been telling you I need to take a break for a minute, so I might have to take a little break soon, but more tech, you know.
Okay. Yep. I got you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to like the video, comment, subscribe. Come back and check me out. I'll be here tomorrow with the ladies doing American Horror Story episode number 5. Yeah, number 5.
Nice.
XX is Hell video. We'll see you.